Hi guys, this is a video for your take-home kit, which is making these tile pieces. So I'm going to walk you through some steps and pointers to help you as you create your own tile piece. These are perfect gifts for Mother's Day coming up, or grandmas, or aunts, and they're super fun and easy to make for all ages. All right, so grab your box. And the first thing you want to take out of your box is your tile piece. It should have 2 holes at the top, and this is going to be the top of it, and this will be the bottom of it. You don't have to tie the wire in yet. We'll save that for the last part, okay? So put your tile down nice and flat on your paper or wherever you're working. I like to work on a piece of paper just in case they get messy and gluey. And I'm actually going to save this one because this is going to go to someone in one of their kits. And I'm going to just use an old tile that I have here. So I've got my tile. And then inside, you should have lots of fun materials. So you should have a little baggie that has some paper in it. Now, if you want to dump them all out so you can see the different colors, there should be some circles in there, tissue paper. So set them all out so you see what you have. You probably want to grab a pair of scissors if you don't have scissors, or you can tear things. Some of the paper might be a little thick, so you might want some scissors handy too. So I've got those out. You might find a little container inside that has some jewels and some gems and some little styrofoam shapes that are fun to use. So if you want to dump any of those out, you can use those too. And then you should have just some loose big papers in there too, of all different shapes and patterns. Some may be small, some might be big. It's just kind of some colorful scrap pieces of paper that you can use too. So before you get working, oh, I forgot, you should have some glitter in there too. So grab your little thing of glitter. I wouldn't open this until the end because this is going to be kind of our last step if you want to add it. So keep it close, but keep it handy nearby. You should also have a paintbrush, and you should have some, it looks like glue, but it's Mod Podge. So it's gonna dry super clear for us. So now that you have all that out, you can keep your beads and wire in your box. We won't need those quite yet. Now, you can see, you can take this in different directions. You can actually make something out of the pieces of paper. So I turn this one into a flower. You could create a scene, maybe have like a landscape picture, maybe use like a sky and make a ground, or make some ice cream cone. You can do whatever you want. If you want to make like a real picture out of your paper, that's totally an option. If you're like, I just want to be a little more abstract and just see where I go, then you can do something like this, where you can do, maybe you choose all warm colors and you just place pieces on top of each other and it becomes this pretty abstract piece. Or this one is super colorful and has lots of things going on in it, and you could do this too. Use warm, cool colors, patterns. It's all about layering and kind of having fun as you go. So there's lots of different options. Everyone's will look different, and it's totally up to you as the artist to be as creative as you can. But the first thing you want to do is take the lid off your glue. I'm gonna call it glue, even though it's Mod Podge. Kind of smells a little funny too. And your brush. Now, I would kind of work in small sections. I wouldn't just put a bunch of glue down because it might dry on you before you can stick something on. So I like to start with like a background base. So I might choose my bigger papers or some tissue paper. Now with the tissue paper, this is special art tissue paper. So it's really fun because the colors can kind of blend together when you layer them on top of each other. But just know that if they get super gluey and wet, those colors are gonna come off onto your glue, and it's gonna make your glue the color of the paper, which is totally fine. I just want you to be prepared. If you use a lot of glue and it gets super wet and sloppy, then it's gonna kind of become green glue, which is fine because it'll just give it a little tint. But these don't need a ton of glue to get them to stick, but they're fun to layer. So I'm just gonna kind of make mine a little more abstract. So I'm gonna start with some paper. And this is where I said if you have scissors or if you want to tear it. I kind of like tearing because it kind of leaves those like edges that are a little rough. And I'm just going to dip my brush in. I'm going to put a little glue down. And if you get it outside of the edges, you can either fold it on the side with some glue, or you can go back with some scissors and trim up those edges when you're all done. Oh, I really like this purple piece, so I'm going to tear some of that. So I'm just kind of building a layer right now. And it's okay if you have some of the white tiles shown. You can keep some of the white, that's perfectly fine. And I just start adding things. Now this glue is really special because I know it's hard to imagine, but it will dry completely clear. I'm gonna add one of these cool shapes now. So I'm gonna stick one of those styrofoam foam pieces on. Maybe I'm gonna add some tissue paper now. So don't worry, if your paper, these are a little big too, so you can always tear them. If you're thinking, oh man, I'm getting so much glue on it, don't worry, it's gonna dry completely clear. I like to call it a glue sandwich. So I put glue down first, then I put my piece of paper, whatever I'm using, then I top it with some glue too. Now you can wait and top the glue at the very end and put it all on top at once. See how I said that that glue was gonna start to take that color? See how that pink is starting to bleed a little bit? That's okay, totally okay. Just be prepared, the tissue paper might do that. So yeah, back to my glue sandwich. So it's always glue, paper, glue. Because you wanna make sure you get glue on the top and on the bottom. So I haven't used my sequins yet. I'm gonna kind of hold off on those until the end, but I have these cool circle shapes that I'm gonna add now. Some are big, some are small. And like I said, it's all about just adding layer after layer. So I'm obviously going a little bit quick, so you can definitely take your time. I'm gonna add this big piece of pink. And if things aren't really sticking, just add more glue. Remember, the glue will dry clear, so don't worry, don't worry. If it's coming up, just use your finger to kind of stick it down a little bit, rub it around, and just know that all the glue will dry clear. Ooh, you know what? If I put this blue piece on top of that pink piece, what color do we think we might see underneath? Because they might blend together a little bit. If you guessed purple, you are correct. So right there where those two kind of overlap, that's gonna make a purple, which is gonna be really cool. So just keep adding, adding, adding. Once you kind of have your base layer on, now I would probably add some more for sure, but I'm just gonna move ahead to some of the next step a little bit. Okay, this is where I would add maybe some of those gems or even some more of those foam pieces. So if you wanna dump out your gems so you get a better look, this is where those shiny pieces are gonna be fun, come into play, super fun. I might add one of those on. And remember, you can put it down and put the glue on and the glue will dry clear. Okay? I know it's hard to imagine it. You think you're messing it up when you put the glue over it, but I promise it will dry clear. So there should be lots of fun sequin shapes. And sometimes it just needs a lot of glue, so you just have to kind of use your finger to get it on there, nice and gluey. Now, for those holes at the top of your tile, make sure that you don't cover those holes because we have to put our wire in there. If you do, it's okay, we'll just kind of poke it through, but try to leave a little room around the outside of those holes just so we can stick our wire through. Okay, I've added a couple jewels, and now I would say it's time to add that glitter if you want. Now, this is a little container. You could open it up and you could just shake, shake, shake if you want to do it that way. If you want to be a little bit more precise with it, you could dump it on your paper or a paper plate and then use your finger and just kind of take a little bit of glitter and dab it, a little bit of glitter and dab it if you just want it in a couple of places. So there's different ways to do it. Like I did that. I didn't dump a whole bunch of glitter on this one, but I did do it in the center of my flower. And I wanted it to be pretty precise because remember, this is all gonna be sticky. So if you drop the glitter on, it's gonna stick everywhere. So I just used my finger, I dipped it in the glitter, and then I just touched it in the center. So that's one way to do it. Or you can, you know, just take that little container and shake as much as you want. Okay, so now I'm gonna let this dry. It will dry pretty fast. I would say within 10 or 15 minutes, it'll be pretty dry to touch. But I would just kind of leave it to the side to dry before you do the wire. Once you have it dry, there should be a little wire piece inside. And be careful, they're not super pointy, but you want to be careful with them that they don't poke you. And you might want to have a parent or an older sibling help with this part just to get started. You're just going to stick it through the hole, and then you're going to leave a little bit of a tail, and you're just going to come up and kind of twist it so that that one end is nice and secure and your beads aren't going to fall off. So I just kind of twisted it so it was on there. Now I have my open end to string my beads. Now, you should have a little bag of beads inside there. Now you can create any pattern you want with your beads, and you're going to start stringing them, stringing them, stringing them. Now this wire could be longer than you want. So if you don't want a super long cord, you can always trim it off with some scissors or wire cutters. And then when you're all done stringing your beads, again, you can have a parent help you string it through that second hole and just twist it and tie it off. And then it is all ready to hang somewhere for you to enjoy or for someone else if you give it to them as a gift. So here's some ones with some beads on them at the top. So you're just gonna string, string, string. When you're all done, you can trim it off if you have extra and tie it off at the top. All right, guys, we had so much fun in my house making these. We made probably 10 one day, just going and going and going and creating as much as we could. So have fun. I cannot wait to see your tiles. Please take lots of pictures and share them with me. And one more note before I sign off. If, again, you have pieces that are hanging off your edge, you can take scissors and trim them off, or you can put a little extra glue and just wipe them, put some glue right here, and then fold it over so it's on the side. Now, you probably have some tools at home that you could use too. You could use paper that you have at home, old art projects. If you have some fun beads that you want to include with the beads I gave you, you can definitely use any tools you have at home to add to what I have given you in the box. So just keep that in mind. Okay, lots of glue, remember, on the top, let it dry. That glue sandwich, glue paper glue. And then, like I said, add anything that you have at home to it to give it a little bit of extra special touch. You could even add a little bit of paint to this too if you wanted after the glue dries. You can go back and add some little touches of paint if you have paint at home. All right, friends, I can't wait to see all your creations. Again, have so much fun. There's really no right or wrong. Any age can do these. I will talk to you soon.